All right, let's dive right in. This week, we're wading into the DC universe, and wow, has it been an absolute whirlwind of news. We've got casting rumors that basically set the internet on fire, we've got major updates on huge projects, and there's a potential corporate deal in the works that could, well, it could change everything. So, let's get into it.
Okay, so first up, the rumor that I don't think a single person saw coming. It all started when Chris Pratt sent the little joke over to his friend, who just so happens to be the head of DC Studios, James Gunn. It was just a picture of himself wearing a Batman mask, a simple, funny text between buddies, right? So James Gunn's response? It was just a single laughing emoji. You'd think, okay, case closed. But this is the internet we're talking about. For them, that one little emoji was enough to ignite an absolute firestorm of speculation. Could Star-Lord actually be swapping his blaster for a Batarang? Fans just went wild, debating and memeing this thing into a full-blown possibility.
So, let's try to get to the bottom of all this hero chatter. What is the real story with Chris Pratt? And more importantly, who is actually confirmed to be joining the DCU? It's time to separate some of those wild fan theories from what the studio has actually confirmed. Well, Chris Pratt himself has officially put these rumors to bed. He came out and confirmed he was never in the running for Batman, and honestly, he doesn't even think he's the right fit for the part. So no Prattman for us. But does that mean he's out of the DCU for good? Absolutely not. His friendship with James Gunn is really strong, and he was even spotted on the Superman set showing support. So it's very, very likely we'll see him pop up in another role somewhere down the line.
So while one hero's future is still a bit of a question mark, another's is set in stone. Millie Alcock is our Supergirl, and you can just tell the creative team is over the moon about it. Tom King, the legendary comics writer who's a key architect of this new DCU, said she is 100% accurate to the character in the comics. He says she perfectly blends the classic and modern takes on Supergirl and that she absolutely shines in the role.
Now let's take a quick detour from the main DCU storyline. We're going to head over to the dark, gritty, rain-soaked streets of Gotham City in Matt Reeves' Elseworlds universe. This is a totally separate timeline, and believe me, some big things are happening with the Batman.
Yep, the bat signal is about to be lit once again. Robert Pattinson just confirmed that filming for The Batman Part 2 is all set to kick off this April. And it sounds like a massive shoot, too, scheduled to go all the way through November. We are going to have to be patient for this one, though. The movie isn't slated to hit theaters until October of 2027. But what about the other corners of this version of Gotham? I mean, the first season of The Penguin hasn't even come out yet, but people are already talking about a second season. Well, Kristen Milioti, who plays the amazing Sophia Falcone, just admitted that the cast is pretty much in the dark. She said there's been no official word, no story details, nothing concrete at all about a season 2.
And now we know two characters who definitely won't be in the sequel. Kristen Milioti has been very clear that she's not reprising her role as Sophia Falcone. And it's also been confirmed that Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman won't be back either. This tells us a lot, actually. It strongly suggests the sequel is moving in a completely new direction, leaving the events of the first film behind to start a whole new chapter for this Batman. And that could open the door for some really unexpected villains from his classic rogues gallery.
Okay, let's jump back into the main, interconnected DCU and take a peek at the incredible new projects that James Gunn and his team are building from scratch. This is where we really start to see the future of the universe take shape. So if you're picturing a typical superhero show for Lanterns, you might want to think again. The creative team behind it includes writers from shows like Ozark and Lost, and they have a very specific vibe in mind. Their goal is to create a heavy, serious adult drama, the kind of show you'd expect to see in that prime Sunday night slot on HBO. This is not going to be a show for kids. Think of it more like a gritty crime procedural that just happens to be set in space.
Speaking of intense, Jason Momoa is bringing all of that energy to the intergalactic bounty hunter, Lobo. Momoa has wanted to play this character for years, and he said that stepping onto the set for the first time felt like he was living a dream. He even said his first scene was so tough, he doubts any other actor could have pulled it off on the first take. It's so clear he is going all in on this role.
So does all that passion mean a solo Lobo movie is a sure thing? Well, not so fast. DC Studios is playing this one really smart. The plan is to introduce Lobo in the upcoming Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie. And then they're just going to sit back and watch. They're going to see how audiences react to him. If we, the fans, absolutely love him and want more, then a solo film gets the green light. The future of the main man is basically in our hands.
And, that level of excitement seems to be all over these new DCU projects. Take the animated Mr. Miracle series, for example. Writer Tom King was talking about the auditions, and he was just completely floored. He said the one key word for this whole show is surprises, especially when it came to casting the big bad villain.
According to King, actors they never would have even thought of for the role of Darkseid came in and delivered these bone-chilling performances. He said they just embodied the character's terrifying presence perfectly. But here's the real bombshell. This animated show is officially part of the main DCU. That means the actors voicing these characters are very, very likely the same actors who will play them in live action. They are literally casting their live-action Darkseid right now for an animated show. How cool is that?
Okay, for this last part, let's pull the camera way back and look at the even bigger picture. We're going to talk about a legendary director who wants a piece of the DCU and the huge corporate chess game that could decide the fate of, well, pretty much all of Warner Bros.
Sam Raimi, the legend who gave us the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, recently said he has always wanted to direct a Batman movie. He explained that what draws him in is the potential for a really deep, psychological story about conflict and real change. And you can guess what happened next, right? The internet completely lost its mind, flooding James Gunn's social media, begging him to hire Raimi.
So Raimi has since clarified things a little. While that Batman dream is definitely real, he's open to directing any DC project, but there's a catch. The story has to be special. He's not interested in just making another superhero movie. He wants something with a powerful, unique script that really gets into character development and emotion. The door's open, but DC has to bring him the perfect story.
But maybe the biggest DC news right now isn't happening on a set at all, but in a boardroom. Warner Bros. Discovery, DC's parent company, has been in acquisition talks. An offer came in from Paramount, but when it went to a shareholder vote, it was rejected overwhelmingly. We're talking 93% voted no. And that points to a much, much bigger offer waiting in the wings.
So why the huge no to Paramount? Well, it turns out a much bigger fish is circling. The streaming giant Netflix has reportedly made a merger offer valued at a staggering $83 billion. Just let that number sink in. This is a deal that could completely change the power structure in Hollywood. And from what we hear, the board is strongly in favor of it, seeing it as the best way forward for the company.
If this actually goes through, it would totally reshape the entertainment landscape, merging a classic studio with the biggest streamer on the planet. So what would a Netflix-owned DC even look like? Would we get more shows instead of blockbuster movies? Would they focus more on global heroes? It leaves us with one final, massive question. Is a future where Superman, Batman, and the Justice League all live under the Netflix banner the one fans have really been waiting for? I guess only time will tell.